The shuttle descended smoothly through the pink and turquoise skies of Gliese, 667 cc, with Jeff at the controls, his heart pounding with excitement and a hint of nervousness. As the craft touched down on the soft, moss-like terrain, he could see figures gathering a short distance away, their silhouettes marked by the low, crimson sun. Stepping out, Jeff took a deep breath of the filtered air, his eyes scanning the horizon before settling on the approaching group. One figure stepped forward, significantly shorter than him, with luminous violet eyes and skin that shimmered like opal. She introduced herself as Lena, her voice melodic and soothing through the translator device pinned to his suit. "Welcome, Jeff, to our world. We have awaited your arrival with great anticipation," Lena said, her hands clasped in front of her. "Thank you, Lena. It's an honor to be here." "Your home is beautiful," Jeff replied, his gaze wandering over the vivid landscape. Lena smiled, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Would you like to walk with me? I can show you some of our community's favorite spots." "I'd love that," Jeff agreed, following her lead. As they walked, Lena reached out to touch a tall, fern-like plant, and its leaves changed color at her touch. "Our flora is very responsive," she explained. "They react to touch and emotions. It's one way we connect with our environment." Jeff watched in awe, then gently touched the plant himself, watching it glow a soft blue. "Incredible," he murmured. Lena watched him, her smile broadening. "You're very gentle. That's appreciated, not just by our plants, but in all forms of our communication." Their path led to a serene lake that mirrored the colors of the sky. "Here," Lena paused, turning to face Jeff. "In our culture, touching is a language in itself. It can say more than words ever could." Jeff felt a pulse of excitement. "I've read about touch-based communication, but experiencing it is something else entirely," he confessed. "It's very intimate." "Yes, it is intimate," Lena agreed, stepping closer. "Would you allow me to show you?" Jeff nodded, and Lena reached up to trace a line down his arm, her touch light and tingling. Jeff felt a rush of warmth flood through him, far more intense than he'd anticipated. "Your response is very positive," Lena observed, her voice a whisper now. "Would you like to continue learning our ways?" Jeff looked into her eyes, seeing the offer there, and remembered her words from earlier. "Do whatever you want with me," he replied, echoing the traditional phrase she had taught him on their walk. Lena's eyes lit up, recognizing her own cultural phrase returned with understanding and consent. She led him by the hand to the edge of the water, where they sat, their sides touching. "This is where many of our own learn about each other," she said softly. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the lake, Jeff leaned in to kiss Lena gently. It was a kiss of gratitude, of new beginnings, and of deepening connections. Lena responded with equal gentleness, her hands exploring his back, guiding him to the rhythms of her world. In the quiet that followed, punctuated only by the soft lapping of water against the shore, Jeff and Lena lay together, exploring each other under the alien stars, each touch and kiss a word in their silent dialogue of discovery. Their night unfolded with tender exploration, marking the start of Jeff's profound journey into a new world and a new understanding of connection. The morning light filtered through the translucent leaves of the towering plants, casting a soft, dappled glow over Jeff and Lena as they awoke beside the tranquil lake. The night had been a revelation for Jeff, not only in the physical sense, but also in the deep emotional connection that had been forged without words. "Good morning," Jeff murmured, his voice low as he studied Lena's face, which was relaxed in the light of dawn. "Good morning, Jeff," Lena replied, her violet eyes reflecting the calm waters. "Did you sleep well?" "Very well, thanks to you," Jeff smiled, propping himself on one elbow to look at her more closely. "I feel like I'm starting to understand your people's way of communicating through touch." Lena sat up, tucking a strand of her luminescent hair behind her ear. "I'm glad to hear that. There's much more to learn, and not just about touch, but how we connect through it, how it binds us." Jeff nodded, genuinely interested. "I want to learn everything, how you live, love, everything about your culture. I feel there's so much depth I've barely touched." "Then let's start today by visiting the heart of Krelax," Lena suggested, her face lighting up with excitement. "It's a place of learning and experience, central to our community. They made their way to the heart of Krelax, a massive, dome-like structure at the center of the city, its walls pulsating with a gentle light. Inside, the dome was filled with intricate passageways and rooms, each designed to teach and explore different aspects of Krelax life. "Our first stop," Lena said, leading him into a room where the walls were lined with vibrant murals depicting various scenes of Krelax history and daily life. These murals tell stories of our ancestors, their discoveries, and how they shaped our ways. As they walked, their hands occasionally brushed, each touch a whisper of the night before. Jeff felt each contact spark a deeper connection, a silent communication that was more expressive than words. Lena stopped before a mural depicting a pair of Krelax in a deep embrace, their bodies surrounded by a soft halo of light. This shows the union of Malir and Hestia, two important figures in our history. Their bond was said to transcend the physical, a perfect harmony of mind and spirit. "It's beautiful," Jeff said, tracing the lines of the mural with his eyes. "Is this harmony something all Krelax strive for?" "Yes, it is," Lena replied, her hand finding Jeff's. "It's a deep connection that we believe enhances not just personal happiness, but the well-being of our entire community." Their tour continued, with Lena explaining the various rituals and ceremonies depicted in the murals. As they delved deeper into Krelax culture, Jeff's understanding of the physical and emotional layers of their communication deepened. As the day turned to evening, they found themselves in a secluded garden within the dome, surrounded by fragrant blooms that filled the air with their sweet perfume. "Today was incredible," Jeff said, feeling overwhelmed by all he had learned. Lena smiled, sitting beside him on a soft, grassy mound. "I'm glad you think so. But the day isn't over yet," she whispered, leaning in to kiss him softly. The kiss was gentle, exploratory, and full of the promise of the night to come. As they deepened their embrace, Jeff felt the barriers between them dissolve further, each touch and kiss a continuation of their dialogue, teaching him the Krelax way of love and connection. In the quiet of the garden, they rediscovered each other, their exploration a dance of mutual understanding and affection under the alien stars. After a night filled with tender discoveries and whispered confidences under the starlit garden, Jeff and Lena woke to the harmonious sounds of the city coming to life. As they walked back through the heart of Krelax, Jeff couldn't help but feel more attuned to the vibrations of the city, both its people and its environment. "Today, I'd like you to experience our marketplace. It's not just a place of trade, but a vibrant hub of our cultural expression," Lena explained, as they approached a sprawling open area, alive with colors, sounds, and scents. The marketplace was bustling, filled with Krelax of all ages bartering, chatting, and sharing meals. Stalls brimmed with exotic fruits, handcrafted artifacts, and vibrant textiles. Each vendor greeted Lena warmly, their eyes bright with curiosity as they took in Jeff's unfamiliar appearance. "This is where you really see our culture thrive," Lena said, guiding Jeff through the crowd. She led him to a stall draped with rich blue fabrics. "Here, fabric weaving is not just an art, it's a way to capture our emotions. Each color, each pattern represents a different feeling or life event." Jeff watched in awe as the vendor demonstrated the weaving technique, the shuttle moving with rhythmic precision. "It's beautiful," he commented, touching the fabric lightly, feeling the textures that told stories of joy, sorrow, and love. "Would you like to try?" the weaver offered, her eyes twinkling. With a nod, Jeff sat beside her, his fingers clumsy at first, but soon moving with more confidence under her patient guidance. Lena watched, her smile wide, as Jeff wove a simple yet earnest line of vibrant green into the fabric. "You're weaving happiness," Lena noted, her hand squeezing his shoulder. "It feels good," Jeff admitted, proud of his small contribution to the tapestry of Krelax culture. Continuing through the marketplace, they stopped at a food stall where spices hung in colorful arrays, and the air was thick with enticing aromas. The vendor handed them skewers of sizzling, spiced meat and vegetables. As they ate, Lena explained the significance of each spice and how meals were a communal affair, meant to bring people closer. "The flavors are incredible," Jeff said, tasting a blend of spices that seemed to dance on his tongue. Eating together is how we build and reinforce our bonds, Lena said, her hand brushing against Jeff's as they shared the meal. As the day wore on, they participated in a local music session. Instruments unlike anything Jeff had ever seen produced sounds that resonated deep within him. Encouraged by Lena and her friends, he even attempted to play a stringed instrument, resulting in a series of discordant notes that made everyone laugh. Music is another form of touch, Lena explained, helping him adjust his grip. It touches the soul, bridges our differences. The laughter and music faded into a soft evening, and they found themselves at a quiet corner of the marketplace, near a fountain that cast gentle, shimmering reflections around them. Lena turned to Jeff, her expression serious yet open. "Being with you today, sharing these parts of my life, it's made me realize how much I want to keep exploring this, with you." Jeff took her hands in his, the fabric of the day woven into his feelings. "I want that too," he said, leaning in to kiss her, their lips meeting in a promise of more days like this, more learning, more sharing. As they kissed, the sounds of the marketplace faded into a peaceful backdrop. Their connection deepened with each touch, each shared experience, turning their initial fascination into a profound bond that promised to grow with each new day on Gliese 667cc. After a day spent immersed in the vibrancy of the marketplace, Lena and Jeff found themselves strolling towards the outskirts of the city, where the artificial lights faded and the natural beauty of Gliese 667cc's night sky took precedence. The stars here were unlike any Jeff had seen on Earth, brilliant hues of azure and magenta, scattered across the cosmos in dazzling arrays. "The night sky here seems to hold its own stories," Jeff remarked, his gaze fixed upwards, awestruck by the celestial spectacle. "It does," Lena agreed, her voice soft, reflective. "Each constellation has a name, a legend, and lessons we derive from them. They guide us, in a way." They settled on a grassy knoll, the soft hum of nocturnal creatures blending with the whisper of the breeze. Lena pointed to a cluster of bright golden stars. "That constellation is called the Healers. It's said that those stars watch over us, ensuring we maintain balance within ourselves and with nature." "It's beautiful," Jeff said, feeling a sense of peace settle over him. "On Earth we have constellations that guide sailors or tell ancient myths, but nothing quite so spiritually integrated with daily life." Lena smiled, moving closer to him. "Perhaps tonight we can create our own constellation, one that represents us, this moment." Jeff liked the idea. "What would our constellation look like?" "Two stars," Lena began, tracing an invisible line between two bright points in the sky. "One for each of us close together, their light blending." "And what would it teach?" Jeff asked, his arm wrapping around her shoulders as they lay back to watch the sky. "It would teach about unity and discovery, how two beings from different worlds can come together to create something new and beautiful," she explained, her head resting against his shoulder. The idea resonated with Jeff, the metaphor not just poetic but palpably real, as he lay there with Lena. The conversation drifted away as they simply enjoyed each other's presence, the stars above them a silent testament to the connection they were deepening. After a while, Lena sat up, her hand reaching out to caress Jeff's cheek gently. "Do you remember the phrase I taught you? The one from last night?" she asked, her eyes searching his. Jeff nodded, recalling the intimate invitation. "Do whatever you want with me," he repeated, his voice low, imbued with understanding and care. Lena's breath hitched slightly at the words, her usual composure wavering under the starlight. "Saying that to you, here, under our new constellation. It feels right," she whispered, leaning in to kiss him. Their kisses were slow, exploratory, as if they were both savoring the realization that what they had was growing deeper and more significant. With each touch, each caress, they communicated more than words could, their actions weaving together like the stories in the constellations above. The night grew deeper, and their intimacy evolved naturally, their bodies moving together with a rhythm that felt as ancient and inevitable as the starlight under which it unfolded. The softness of the grass beneath them and the canopy of the cosmos above framed their union, a beautiful, silent accord between two souls from different worlds. As the night turned to the earliest hints of dawn, They lay entwined, watching as the first hints of sunlight began to paint the sky with colors no less spectacular than the night stars. "This," Lena said, her voice no more than a murmur, "is just the beginning, isn't it?" "Yes," Jeff replied, holding her close. "The beginning of whatever we want it to be." As dawn broke across the horizon of Gliese 667cc, painting the sky with hues of peach and lavender, Jeff and Lena rose from their makeshift bed beneath the newly named constellation. The intimacy of the night lingered around them like a soft cloak, each movement and glance filled with newfound affection and understanding. "Today I want to show you the Silent Groves," Lena proposed as they made their way back to the city. "It's a place of solitude and reflection. Many of us go there to think, to connect with ourselves." Jeff nodded, intrigued. "I'd like that. It sounds like a place to ground ourselves after such a transformative night." The Silent Groves were a series of gardens, each enclosed by tall, sound-absorbing plants that created a natural barrier to the bustling noise of city life. Inside the first garden, the air was cool and filled with the subtle scent of blooms that opened only at dawn. Lena led Jeff to a circular clearing at the center where the ground was covered in soft, thick moss. She sat down, patting the space next to her for him to join. As they settled into the quiet, Lena began to speak in hushed tones. In Krelak's culture, sharing silence is as intimate as sharing words or touch. It allows us to share our presence completely, without distractions. Jeff took a deep breath, letting the tranquility of the grove seep into him. He watched as a gentle breeze stirred the leaves above, casting playful shadows on the ground. Beside him, Lena sat with her eyes closed, her chest rising and falling in slow, meditative breaths. After a while, Jeff closed his eyes too, focusing on the sounds of the natural world around him, the distant call of a bird, the whisper of the wind. Time seemed to stretch, elongate, and he felt a profound peace settle over him. When he opened his eyes, he found Lena watching him with a soft smile. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Calm," Jeff answered honestly. "More connected to you, to this place. It's as if the silence speaks." Lena's smile widened. "Exactly. Silence has its own language if you listen." They spent the morning wandering through the different gardens, each designed to evoke different feelings through a combination of plants, sculptures, and water features. In one garden, the path led them through a mist that left tiny droplets on their skin, refreshing and invigorating. In another, the sound of a gently bubbling brook accompanied their journey. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Lena suggested a break, and they settled under a large leafy tree. The shade was cool, and the ground was dotted with small, luminescent flowers that glowed faintly in the dim light. "This place," Jeff began, turning to Lena, "makes me appreciate the quieter moments just as much as the loud ones." Lena nodded, reaching out to take his hand. "Life is about balance, the loud and the quiet, the bright and the dark, the alone and the together." Their conversation drifted naturally, from their hopes and dreams to the fears they had about their differing worlds. Every topic was touched with a gentleness, a respect for the other's thoughts and feelings. As the day wore on, they returned to Lena's home. The intimacy of their surroundings from the previous night welcomed them back, inviting them to explore each other once more. This time their union was slow, deliberate. Each kiss and touch was savored, a continuation of their silent communication from the grove. Lena guided Jeff with gentle confidence, showing him how to express love in the silent language of her people. The phrase, "do whatever you want with me," took on new depth as they moved together, a mutual understanding that transcended words. It was a gift of trust, an offer to explore and experience together without reservation. Night fell, and they lay in each other's arms, the soft glow of bioluminescent plants casting a serene light over them. Their hearts beat in sync, a silent rhythm that felt like a continuation of the Silent Groves, a deep, unspoken connection that promised more than just physical closeness, but a blending of souls. In the soft luminescence of Lena's home, as dawn approached, Jeff and Lena remained intertwined, the gentle rhythm of their breathing syncing with the quiet world outside. The night had deepened their connection, each touch, each kiss weaving them closer together, not just physically, but in spirit and understanding. Lena was the first to stir, her fingers tracing light patterns over Jeff's arm, causing him to smile softly in his sleep. Watching him, she felt a surge of affection and a profound sense of belonging that she had not anticipated feeling so strongly. "Jeff," she whispered, nudging him gently. His eyes fluttered open, meeting hers with a sleepy warmth. "Good morning," he murmured, his voice husky from sleep. "Good morning," Lena replied. "How do you feel?" "Connected," Jeff said, the word laden with meaning. He propped himself up on one elbow, gazing down at her with a look of wonder. "Last night, everything we shared, I feel like we've created something unique, something entirely ours." Lena nodded, her heart full. "We have. And I think it's just the beginning. There's so much more I want to share with you, Jeff. Not just about my culture, but about the universe, about the connections that tie everything together." Jeff sat up, pulling the blanket around them against the morning chill. "Tell me," he urged, eager to learn more. Lena led him to her study, where walls lined with ancient texts and modern screens formed a tapestry of knowledge. She activated a holographic display which illuminated the room with images of the galaxy, neural networks, and biological life forms. "In Krelaxian belief, everything is interconnected," Lena began, her fingers gliding across the screens, bringing different images to focus. "Our relationships, our environment, the stars above us, each element influences the others. Our bonds, like ours, are not just emotional or physical, they're cosmic, part of the fabric of the universe." Jeff was captivated, his mind racing with the implications of such a philosophy. "It's so holistic," he commented, his academic interest piqued. "On Earth, we often compartmentalize things, science, religion, relationships. But here, everything is woven together." "Yes," Lena agreed, her eyes alight with passion. "And each bond we form, like ours, adds to this tapestry. It strengthens not just us, but the world around us." They spent the morning discussing theories of connectivity, of love and cosmic responsibility, their conversation weaving through academic and personal revelations. Jeff found himself considering not just his relationship with Lena, but his role in the universe. As afternoon approached, they prepared a meal together in her kitchen, a quiet activity that felt like a dance. Each movement was harmonious, each glance a silent conversation. The simple act of preparing food became an extension of their bond, imbued with laughter and shared secrets. Later, they took their meal outside, sitting under a sprawling tree whose leaves whispered with the gentle breeze. They ate slowly, savoring each bite and each moment of companionship. "This," Jeff said, gesturing to their surroundings, their meal, and between them, "feels right. It feels like something I've been looking for without even knowing it." Lena smiled, reaching across to squeeze his hand. "And it's only possible because we're open to each other, because we're willing to share deeply and trust completely." As the sun began to set, casting long shadows and painting the sky in strokes of orange and purple, Jeff and Lena remained seated together, their bodies close, their spirits closer. The bond they had formed was palpable, a living thing that pulsed with life and promise. "Do whatever you want with me," Jeff said softly, repeating the phrase that had become their mantra, their invitation to keep exploring, keep deepening their bond. Lena leaned in to kiss him, a kiss that sealed their promises and whispered of infinite possibilities. As night fell, they knew that each day would bring them closer, not just to each other, but to understanding the true depth of their connection. The sun rose over the horizon of Gliese, 667 cc, casting a golden glow that seemed to illuminate the possibilities of a new day. Jeff and Lena, having spent the night discussing their dreams and the deeper connections they shared, were ready to take their relationship into the broader context of Lena's community. "Today, I want to introduce you more formally to my people," Lena said as they walked hand in hand toward the city center. "It's important they see how much we have shared and learned from each other." Jeff nodded, understanding the significance of this step. "I'm ready," he said, squeezing her hand in assurance and anticipation. As they approached the central plaza, a crowd had gathered, buzzing with excitement and curiosity. Lena led Jeff to the front, where her elders and community leaders stood. The elders, with their serene expressions and wise eyes, welcomed Jeff warmly. "We have heard much about you, Jeff, and about the journey you and Lena have embarked on together," one elder said. His voice was calm, but carried a weight that resonated with the assembled crowd. Jeff took a deep breath, feeling the gravity of the moment. "Thank you for welcoming me into your community," he began, his voice steady. "I have learned a great deal from Lena about your culture, your beliefs, and the profound connections you cherish. I hope to learn even more and to share some of my own culture with you." The crowd listened intently, their expressions open and curious. Lena stood by his side, her presence a reassuring and supportive force. After the introductions, the day was filled with various community activities. Jeff participated in traditional games, which, while fun, also illustrated the Krelaxians' values of teamwork and mutual respect. Each activity taught him something new about the people and their way of life, deepening his appreciation and understanding. Later, Lena and Jeff attended a cultural workshop where they demonstrated some human technologies and exchanged knowledge about Earth's cultures and histories. The Krelaxians were particularly fascinated by the diverse languages and traditions of Earth, drawing parallels to their own varied cultural expressions. As the evening approached, the community held a feast in Jeff and Lena's honor. The spread was incredible, with dishes that were not only delicious but also visually stunning, each plate a work of art. During the meal, Jeff gave a short speech. "I came here as a visitor, but you've welcomed me as a friend," he said, looking around at all the friendly faces. "I've learned that despite our differences, we have much in common, especially the desire to connect and understand each other." The feast ended with music and dancing, and Jeff found himself swept up in the joyous atmosphere. Lena, graceful and radiant, danced with him, teaching him steps that were both alien and yet strangely intuitive. As they danced, Jeff realized how much he had integrated into this new world. The initial uncertainty had given way to a profound connection, not only with Lena but with her community as well. Later, as they walked back to Lena's home under the starlit sky, Jeff felt a deep sense of contentment and belonging. "Today was incredible," he said, his voice full of emotion. Lena smiled up at him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "You are truly a part of us now," she replied, "and I am so grateful for that." That night, as they lay together, their bond was no longer just between two individuals, but between a man and a new world. They shared their dreams for the future, imagining a life that continued to blend their cultures and deepen their connection. "Do whatever you want with me," Lena whispered once again, the phrase now a symbol of their mutual trust and desire to explore the life they were building together. With each day, each shared experience, and each night spent under the stars of Gliese 667 CC, their love and understanding of each other grew, an interstellar bond that was as enduring as the constellations above. As the days on Gliese 667 CC turned into weeks, Jeff found himself deeply integrated into the community. His relationship with Lena had become a cornerstone of his life, a profound connection that enriched his understanding of the universe and his place within it. On a clear morning, Jeff stood looking out over the city from a high balcony in Lena's home, reflecting on all that had transpired. The cityscape was bustling below, a vibrant tapestry of Krelaxian culture that he now felt a part of. Lena joined him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. "Thinking about the future?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity and warmth. "Yes," Jeff admitted. "It's hard not to. I came here on a mission of discovery, but I've found so much more. I found a home, a purpose. I've found love." Lena smiled, turning him around to face her. "And what does that future look like to you?" Jeff looked into her eyes, seeing the shared future they had often spoken of. "It looks like this. Here, with you, continuing to learn from and grow with each other, helping bridge our worlds not just through technology or treaties, but through understanding and compassion." Lena's eyes lit up, her love for him clear and strong. "I feel the same. I can't imagine a future without you. You've brought so much to us, Jeff. Your perspectives, your compassion. You've helped us see things we hadn't before." They spent the day together, walking through the city, participating in community events, and discussing plans to further integrate their societies. They talked about establishing a cultural exchange program and expanding the linguistic cooperation that Jeff had started. As evening approached, Jeff and Lena climbed to a small hill overlooking the city. The sun set in a blaze of colors, casting long shadows and painting the clouds in pinks and golds. "It's beautiful," Jeff said, watching the sunset, "but not as beautiful as the journey I've been on with you." Lena took his hand, squeezing it gently. "Our journey isn't ending. It's just a new chapter beginning," she reassured him. "And I think it's time we celebrated this new chapter." She pulled a small, intricately designed box from her pocket and opened it to reveal 2 rings, crafted from a native mineral that shimmered with the light of the setting sun. "These are bond rings," she explained. "In our culture, they symbolize a lifelong commitment to explore and support each other's spirits and dreams." Jeff felt a surge of emotion as he took the ring she offered. "Lena, do whatever you want with me," Lena said, repeating the phrase that had become their promise of mutual trust and exploration. It was an invitation, an affirmation, and a vow, all in one. Jeff slipped the ring onto her finger, and she did the same for him. The symbolism was not lost on him. This was more than a cultural gesture. It was a personal pledge, a confirmation of everything they had shared and everything they hoped for. As the last light of the sun dipped below the horizon, they embraced, their kiss sealing their commitment under the watchful eyes of the stars. That night, as they lay in each other's arms, the universe seemed to hold them in a gentle embrace. They had found more than they had ever hoped for, each other and a future filled with infinite possibilities. "Here's to our new chapter," Jeff whispered, his voice filled with love and excitement. "To us," Lena whispered back, her heart full. "To us and to whatever comes next." Together under the stars of Gliese 667 cc, they dreamed of the days ahead, their souls bonded not just by love, but by a deep, unbreakable understanding that transcended worlds.